Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys.
You know what, Skip Bayless? You ought to pay me off that bet. Just because, no, don't do that, Skip. Don't be smiling. Don't be Skip. Don't do that. Skip, you ought to pay that bet off. You ought to pay that bet off.
You ought to be ashamed.
Ashamed of what?
Steve Kerr left him in the game just for you. In the fourth quarter, they're trying to run it up and rub it in on Kevin Durant. He's still jacking up wow bombs from like 40 feet. Way to go. Congratulations.
The man came out with 529.
We split on our bets. That's it. Thank you.
I don't know how we feel about that around here. Okay, let's talk about that game in particular. Despite being road underdogs last night, Steph Curry and the Warriors had no issues dismissing Kevin Durant and the Nets. Curry had a game-high 37 points on 9 of 14 shooting from deep in the 18-point win, and Durant finished with 19 points while Harden had a Nets team high of 24. So, Shannon, what did you learn last night?
Well, I learned a little bit more than what I already knew, but Skip, I thought the Warriors had the best team in basketball. I believe that I'm more convinced that they do have the best team in basketball.
And by the way, Klay Thompson is about to come back.
And so is James Wiseman. He's going to be back shortly thereafter.
There you go.
Skip, but I think the thing is we need to recognize we've done a disservice to him because of Steph Curry.
Okay.
Because of Kevin Durant and his greatness, and we're not going to take that away from KD. Because of Giannis Antetokounmpo and his greatness, back-to-back MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, won the title, Finals MVP. And LeBron James goes without saying. They've overshadowed Steph, and I think we've minimized his greatness. And we saw that on full display last night, Skip. And I believe the team that they have out there now, once they get Klay back, Skip, will be better than the teams that Steve Kerr first took to the finals because they have better shooters than what they have. I believe Steph is a better player than what, if you can believe that, than what he was when they won their first two titles. He's on a different, it's like the game has always seemed easy, but it seems easier because they have better shooters around him now. And that's not with that's with Klay not being able to play in almost 2 years. If Klay comes back at 80% of what he was when he left, Skip, I think there should be the prohibitive favorite. Skip, but when you look at what Steph is doing, he led the league in scoring, and, you know, after the KD left, he broke his wrist. And you know how it goes in sports, Skip, out of sight, out of mind. That's how it kind of goes with anything. And people forgot just how great he is. And people, what they've done is because he doesn't have any finals MVP, they said, well, he's terrible in the playoffs. No, he has not been terrible in the playoffs. The year Andre Iguodala got finals MVP, Steph Curry was 26 points, 6 and 5. That's what he averaged when they lost the 3-1 lead. This is what he did in 2017 in the NBA Finals. Steph Curry averaged 27, 8, and 9. What he did in 2018, he was 27 and a half, 6 and 7. And in the finals that Kevin Durant got hurt, he averaged 30, 5 and 6. So this notion that Steph Curry has been a no-show in the playoffs is just not true. Kevin Durant, just because Kevin Durant played so well, that does not mean that Steph Curry did not play well. And I think sometimes we do that. We think because somebody else is doing something good, somebody else has to be doing something bad. No. Kevin Durant deserved to win Finals MVP, but the notion that Steph Curry was just along for the ride is just not true. The notion that he's been along for the ride in the playoffs is just not true. And I told you yesterday, I said, Skip, he's going to come out and try to get 40 because he wants to show the world, because everybody was convinced. They've convinced themselves, oh, KD made Steph. Nah. He said, bro, I had 2 MVPs before KD set foot in San Francisco. I went to 2 finals before KD even got there. Y'all better give me my respect, pay me my adulation that I so rightfully deserve. They're the best team in basketball, and they should be the favorites. I don't think Fox Bet still doesn't have them as the favorite, but they should be. Number 3 in offensive efficiency, number 1 in defensive efficiency. And that's without Wiseman. Well, that's without Klay. And we know Klay is an all-NBA defensive player, Skip. They legit.
Okay, I give you they are legit, but let's be very clear about something straight up right off the top. Kevin Durant made Steph Curry in the postseason. Steph Curry realized after he blew a 3-1 lead to your team, the Kyrie LeBron Cavaliers, that he had no choice but to go all the way to the tip of Long Island to recruit Kevin Durant to please come save me and save us. Draymond, Steph, they all just said, we need you. And that's what happened. He rode shotgun to Kevin Durant to 2 more titles in which Kevin Durant was the MVP of the NBA Finals. Period. End of story. I don't want to even hear any more about it.
Can I ask you a question?
Thank you.
If they stay put, if Kevin Durant stays in OKC, Steph Curry stays in Golden State, who gets to the NBA Finals first again?
What do you think of Russell Westbrook? What do you think of him? He has been Kevin's decision to leave has been validated by what's happening to your Lakers at this moment. Thank you.
You know what? I'll concede that.
Yes.
He wasn't going to get there with Russell Westbrook. But I believe if Kevin Durant goes anywhere else, I still believe Steph Curry beats him back to the NBA Finals.
All right, back to what happened last night. Kevin Durant, who I believe, because I know, is still the best player on the planet, he started off just like the best player on the planet. He scored 12 in the first quarter, effortlessly, easily, Kevin Durant style. And at one point, would you believe that the home team, the Brooklyn Nets, were up 9 with 4:23 left in the first quarter? They were up 25-16 because Kevin Durant was going Kevin Durant on the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
And yet, every time the Warriors would score, every time Steph would make a 3, a wow bomb, I would hear this incredible roar at Barclays, and I'd say, what was that? I don't get it. I don't really understand. Is something wrong with my audio on my television?
No, nothing wrong with your audio.
No. Somehow the Warriors fans had taken over Barclays. I don't get it.
Right.
But in New York City, in those 5 boroughs, there is a heavy, strong, leather-lung contingent of Steph Curry idolaters. And they took the arena. Oh, I don't know how do you get the tickets? I don't know. Are some of Nets Nation down on this Brooklyn team?
Yep.
It's a little hard to love it right now without Kyrie and with the Kyrie cloud, the unvaccinated cloud hanging over this whole show as we speak.
What, Skip? The Nets doesn't have the fan base, say like the Lakers, or like some of the other teams that's traditional.
It's just too new.
Even though they have, I will concede this, even if I say, Skip, they have the best player in Kevin Durant, it's still newness. KD only been there 3 years.
I got it. Plus, they used to be the New Jersey Nets, and I think they had a tiny, strong contingent of faithful, but it hasn't grown yet to the magnitude. Golden State has some America's team going on because Steph Curry is clearly the most popular player in basketball.
Likeable, Skip. He's
I think he's beyond even LeBron in extreme lovability, just lovability, because to your point, which you always make, he's just a little guy who could just shoot the lights out in ways we've never seen before. So we all, even little white guys like me, can just look up to Steph and say, I think I could do some of that, maybe. You can actually relate to little Steph.
Yes.
Although he's not that little at 6'3", but in the grand scheme of NBA
he ain't 7
things.
foot. He ain't 6'9",
he ain't 7 foot. Okay, so here's what happened. This game goes back and forth, and would you believe with 33 seconds left in the second quarter, just before halftime, would you believe that the Brooklyn Nets, who are about to get blown off the map, would you believe they still led this game 58-57? And Steph didn't happen. Andrew Wiggins they still got Andrew Wiggins. Once upon a time, the first pick in the draft. He's not averaging what he used to average. He's 18-4, so he feels like a little bit of just a cog in the system, but he's still capable of exploding.
Well, you see, he's had games, Skip, where he go get 38, he'll go get 40. He's very capable of having a game like that.
So what does he do? He hits 2 huge threes down the stretch of the first half, and all of a sudden you look up, and at halftime, wait a second, the Warriors are up 5. And then they come out in the third quarter, which they have owned like never before, like no one's ever owned.
They're the opposite of the Lakers.
They are. They're the opposite of the Lakers. They are. They are the polar opposite because the Lakers go polar cold in the third quarter. Would you believe that the Nets have outscored the opposition? They've only played, 12-2, so they've only played like 14 games.
The Warriors.
14 games. Would you believe they've outscored the opposition by 124 points in a pretty early season sample size? 124 points in just the third quarter alone. Next on that list is Charlotte has outscored its opponents in the third quarter by 50. So 124 versus 50. Well, now we're having flashbacks to the great old days Warriors who dominated the league even pre-KD,
You're
right? The
yes.
dynastic, the early dynasty. Okay, so all of a sudden, Wiggins comes out in the third quarter, and he goes layup and then pull-up jumper on a semi-fast break, and all of a sudden, they're up 9 in a game that felt like it was a teeter-totter game,
you know? Because it was going back and forth.
Okay, it was. And then Steph goes out at the 7-minute mark of the third quarter when they're up 13, and they just keep going. They go on an 18-5 run, and then they close out the quarter in which they won at 35-18, and the game is over with Steph just sitting. He had some foul trouble. It wasn't like horrendous, threatening foul trouble, but he just sat the rest of the last 5 minutes. And then back to the fourth quarter, Steph plays the first 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, and I am convinced it's all because of Kevin Durant. They just wanted to say, we are going to just drive the stake through your heart here, even though we're still in November, we're still in an early regular season game, and he went 3 of 4 from 3 in the fourth quarter. So if we could just see, just to drive home how driven he was last night, to your point and your prediction point, could we just